A radical anti-Semitic Muslim cleric called Sheikh Raed Salah is now in the country, having evaded capture at the airport where he was meant to be stopped from entering the country. He is now using the British courts in order to prove that he should be allowed to stay here to spread his message, which some people feel is a little bit extreme.
The argument about Raed Salah has centered on what he represents to the people of both Israel and Palestine. He's been described unironically as the Gandhi of Palestine. Okay, he's been presented as a civil rights hero.
He's probably not as committed to peace as Gandhi.
He did 5 months in prison for assaulting a police officer. This is not very
We've all done that.
behavior.
The Sheikh was invited here by a whole bunch of people, including some left-wing Labour MPs, such as Jeremy Corbyn. Needless to say, the leader of the Labour Party, Ed Miliband, is not terribly happy about this. Beautiful summer like this, why on earth do you want to invite someone like Salah to address you all? What's that about?
Well, I think he needs to come to Britain, and I think we need to hear his views, because he represents a Palestinian point of view within the 1948 borders of Israel, has freedom of movement as I understand it in Israel, and it seems to me that this is a voice that has to be heard.
Anyway, what happens is this: Theresa May, the Home Secretary, decides that he shouldn't be allowed into the country, a decision with which I disagree, as it happens. So all the security people are told that he mustn't be allowed into the country, but he does a cunning thing. Old Sheikh, he flies to a different terminal and waltzes through immigration.
I didn't actually get a chance to meet him before he was taken into custody here, but as I understand it, the two meetings that he attended, there was no problem whatsoever with what he said. He was talking up for Palestinian people and the need for all Palestinian people to be involved in a future peace process. Now, the fact people don't like him is not a reason not to invite him. And if there is to be a genuine and serious peace process, it's got to involve all the skeptics as well as those that are much less skeptical. Otherwise, it simply cannot work.
This country, in my opinion, has been for some years now pretty much a retirement home or staying place for any radical around the world who wants to further their career and further their aims. Let me give you a quick example, which is that a number of the people who are trying to lead the Islamist revolutions in North Africa and the Middle East at the moment have only gone back to their countries of origin, having spent a very nice retirement period here in London, using London as a very good base, using very good benefits and welfare system, and then they go back and have the revolution they wanted. I don't think the British people, or indeed the British government, should encourage things like that.
But that's part and parcel of being a democracy, isn't it? That they may be doing things which we don't like, but so long as they stay within the law, there is nothing that we should do to stop them, and they are.
But they don't stay within the law.
That's right.
They're outside the law.
Right. I mean, this is a man who's done time in prison for raising money for Hamas, a proscribed terrorist organization according to both the UK and EU law.
Yeah, we're changing our mind on Hamas, though, aren't we?
Well, no, not necessarily. The reconciliation accord hasn't even come to fruition. Nothing has been achieved. And again, it is still a proscribed terrorist organization.
He's been done in Israel on a whole bunch of charges, including incitement to causing trouble and setting fire to some eucalyptus trees, which is my favourite charge of all. We better keep an eye on Sherwood Forest while he's here. And also for repeating the historic blood libel about Jewish people, which is that they bake their bread with the blood of Gentiles. It's an odd way to bake bread, but do we think he said that?
Well, yes. In fact, the whole transcript of that sermon.
By and large, Jews don't do that, do they?
We tend not to do that now. Not anymore.
Gentiles' blood, I think he thought they were using.
Gentiles' blood, yeah.
He said the Jews were using the blood. I couldn't work out from his quote.
Using the blood of Gentiles was what he thought was going on.
Is that some recipe that I haven't come across that Jewish people do?
Not that we know of.
Do you know?
Not since Norwich in the 13th century, I think.
Right.
It's been abandoned.
It's been abandoned.
Yeah.
It was complete nonsense, and I've no idea where it came from, why it was said, or what it's supposed to mean, but it sounds to me absolutely and totally wrong. I am, like you, completely anti-racist. I want to see a peace and justice in the Middle East, and we're not going to achieve that by using any kind of ludicrous characterizations of Jewish people or of Palestinian people.
He's going to stay here as long as he can. He can stay here as an illegal immigrant up to, 5-6 years.
Start of the football season, there's some good games.
And it's costing British taxpayers thousands of pounds.
One interesting point to make. about the issue of freedom of speech, which I ought to make, because these two have nothing to do with this particular thing, which is I've tried to find someone who is in support of Mr. Salah staying here, but suddenly their desire for freedom of speech seems to have evaporated, none more so than the Palestinian Solidarity campaign, which seems to be staffed by monotone imbeciles who I don't think you'd like them. I just don't think you'd like them.
So if I say now I want people to kill Rod Liddle, I shouldn't be prosecuted for that. If, however, there was a crowd outside your house and you were there with your family and they wanted to kill you and I went out and incited, and there may well be, yes, I'm sure that there are such circumstances, but I went as a notorious anti-Liddleite and whipped up that crowd and I said, he's in there now, you can get him, guys, then I should be would be prosecuted for that.